All right, so leaving that story concerning Nigeria and the subsidy, don't forget we've talked about the fact that it was mentioned that subsidy was removed and then it is back again. But let's move on to our next news this time. Let's touch base with the aviation sector. UAE is yet to lift ban on flights from Kenya. That was one big story. But the Kenyan government has lifted the ban imposed on all inbound and transit passenger flights from the United Arab Emirates UAE to 2 weeks ago. Now, according to Kenya Civil Aviation Authority KCAA Director General Gilbert Kibe, the reason for lifting up the suspension is not for public consumption.
Our correspondent Abdullah Aden joins us now live from Kenya. Thank you for joining us, Abdin. Let's begin by understanding what Gilbert Kibe said about the ban not being lifted for public consumption.
Well, thank you so much, and a very good morning to you and in our studios there. This was a huge reprieve for many Kenyans, especially those who are working in the United Arab Emirates, who were looking forward to join their families before the ban by the two countries, even though the Kenyan ban was preceded by the one from the United Arab Emirates. So there were diplomatic efforts led by the Foreign Affairs Minister, Ambassador Rachel Omamo, with her UAE counterparts to try and resolve this standoff regarding the travel of passengers, especially during this pandemic. But then again, Kenya has done its part. Now it's all expecting from the United Arab Emirates to follow suit.
Right. Now, this ban was placed in retaliation, just as you said earlier. This was done in retaliation to UAE's restrictions on flight from Kenya. But why has Kenya decided to lift the ban when UAE, on the other hand, is yet to lift its ban that has been placed on flights from Kenya?
Well, as you know, Kenya relies a lot on the United Arab Emirates. We have nearly 60,000 Kenyans living and working in the United Arab Emirates, and since 2014, there are a large number of domestic workers who are working, providing services in the United Arab Emirates. What has been banned, though, was the flights, passenger flights, not cargo flights, and this ban doesn't apply to all Kenyans. Those who have been exempt, as announced by the United Arab Emirates, include the, members of the diplomatic fraternity. These are other golden visa holders, official delegations, UAE diplomatic missions. But there are a lot of tests that are required. These are 4 PCR tests, rapid PCR tests at the airport, 6 hours before departure, a 10-day quarantine. There are a lot of restrictions. So this is just applying to the ordinary passengers and those who have not been exempted. But Kenya and UAE really need each other, especially looking at the business and trade, where the UAE is one of the countries where Kenya imports a lot of household items, electronics, and other imports.
Well, Abdino, finally, we heard that Kenya Airways has lost at least $333 million in the past 12 months. This is largely due to the COVID-19 outbreak. Is this the reason why it hasn't decided to reconsider and take time before going forward to accepting the UAE? Or could it be as a result of the fact that the economy is indeed biting hard in terms of not making a lot of money?
Could be one of the reasons, but not one of the major reasons. As you very well know, that this ban was more of a medical related decision than economic in the first place, because Kenyans were accused of possessing fake PCR tests. But it isn't Kenya alone. There are many countries, 4 countries, Ghana included, Uganda included, Tanzania included, and Kenya, where passengers who had shown negative tests at the airport will be found out to be positive in tests conducted inside the country. Therefore, initially, this was a health-related challenge and consequence of fake COVID-19 results. And that is what really pushed the United Arab Emirates to take the action against Kenya and the other countries. But we will not rule out that the economic, challenge that was falling in from, especially during the Dubai Expo, many Kenyans missed out on this because the country has been, passengers from the country were suspended going into the United Arab Emirates. And these include investors and business people. And you can imagine the number, the millions of dollars. Actually, the figure could be beyond the one that was mentioned, considering the fact that the two countries really rely on each other on imports from both countries. Therefore, it's a huge reprieve for Dubai investors here in Kenya and Kenyans living in Dubai, but Kenyans who are in Kenya and people from Kenya going to Dubai will really have to wait from the government of the United Arab Emirates to know their fate.
Very insightful. Thank you so much, Abdino Adin. And although the way you sounded in that comment, it seems you also missed going to Dubai 2020 as well.
But before I sign out, I'd like to ask, is Olu still mourning from the Nigerian exit of AFCON? I see she's in the colors.
Yeah, I'm beginning to get over it, so I have to wear a collar to really feel good. So I'm still Nigerian.
Something told me Abdino was going to go there, but it's fine. It's fine.
Thank you so much, Abdino.
I know what you're trying to do, Abdino. Thank you so much for joining us. Okay, take some time out.
Thank you so much.
All right, now let's take you to another story that is not too pleasant at this time. Tropical storm Anna, which made landfall Monday the 25th in some parts of southern Africa, is reported to have killed at least 4 people in Mozambique and Malawi. Now, the storm has brought heavy rains and strong winds, according to authorities. Mozambique's National Institute for Management and Disaster Risk Reduction said 2 people had been killed and 66 injured, while 546 homes had been partially destroyed and another 115 completely destroyed.
Malawi's Department of Disaster Management Affairs said 1 person had died and 30 had sustained injuries, with displaced households seeking refuge from flooding in churches and schools. The storm triggered major power cuts in Malawi, with its electricity generation company EGENCO. That's EGNCO, saying that as of Tuesday evening, only 30% of the country's installed capacity was available.
The tropical storm is projected to bring localized heavy rains and strong winds to the Manicaland and Mashonaland provinces of Zimbabwe. These are the areas that suffered the brunt of the cyclone Idai that happened in 2019. Now, we know this is a natural disaster that is happening, but a lot of people were wondering what happened to the people, the technocrats who should have been studying the weather conditions, who should have given a forecast of this kind of situation to prepare the people in those provinces in Zimbabwe to either flee from that region or for the government to even look for an alternative for them, because now we're having properties destroyed, we're having people being killed, we're having lives, Joe, lost.
Very, very sad situation. Natural disaster and its challenges. That's what you actually have to also deal with. And that's exactly what you can find there on the screen. Taking a look at that right away.